I hate basics. I don't do them. See, if you can tell from my past videos, this is just. But still, seeing so many things go wrong, many people trying to just jump ship without understanding the basics, I think, and then later breaking down their own game and then having mental breakdowns and whatnot in game development industry. It's quite common, kicking the imposter syndrome kicking in every now and then, even if you're pretty good compared to others, and even the scope creep and so many things. So I thought of making this video starting from basics around player movement and what is the right exact pattern to do so. And if you're a YouTube game developer or some kind of renowned game developer, or you work in a AAA studio, AA studio, whatever, prove me wrong. I challenge you all. And if you're here to learn, please welcome. By the end of this video, I really do think that you will be confident. In fact, that is my goal, to make you a little bit more confident in your code, a bit more confident in overcoming your imposter syndrome. And also the thing about scope creep, whenever you create your own games, you must have realized that you start off really simple. Okay, this is I added my player, I add little mechanics, animations, and done. Little bit of power-ups, enemies, etc. But if you've ever coded or made a game before, you know how hard it slowly becomes, and you think of adding this little feature as well, this little feature as well, this little feature as well, and it just becomes a big garbage, and things break a lot. So to also avoid those things and to avoid your own scope creep, I think this video will help you out. I do believe in getting your basics right. So if this is your first time seeing a game tutorial, or you've seen hundreds of tutorials and you still don't know how to start, where to start, and even if you have started, you don't know how to proceed with that, I'll be coding in such a way so that even if this video ends, you can learn from this video and kind of add on your own little features, little states, and do make mistakes, break it down, and yeah, that's the thing. If you're a hobbyist or just make games for game jams, quick games here and there, then this video is probably not for you. But if you are a AAA studio, or if you're a person who's working in AAA studio at a junior level, or you're an aspiring game dev person who wants to be working in a AAA studio, or you want to make your own like little games like Zelda or GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption, as such, any RPG game where your character has a few features, little states here and there, I think you should sit for this video, and we're going to discuss the very basics of any game design, any game development. Movement. You need to get your movement right. There's, even after seeing whole of YouTube, you have a little bit of doubts and stuff, you can comment down if this video doesn't solve, but I'm pretty sure even a AAA studio person would admire what I'm going to share in this video. And if you're a beginner, you might find it a bit complex, but I've tried it to simplify things, and I've tried to simplify things. That's all I can say. If you have more doubts, you can just comment and let me know. Maybe I can help in another way also. And the code will be, it will be best if you did your own code. But if you also want the code, just let me know, or I might be over time adding into my description after I've completed stage 3. But this video is just stage 1, where we get everything basics done right. Now, before starting this video, you should know how to set up a Unity project, a basic create project, and secondly, you should know a little bit of Pro Builder also. Or even if you don't know the Pro Builder thing, it doesn't matter. Now, before we proceed, let me help you visualize a little bit. These are the 3 different types of movement patterns that we'll be going through. First, we'll start with a basic movement pattern, then we'll use character controller component, and then the final and the preferred one, we will go through this pattern. There'll be only one script for this. There'll be a component, character controller component, a controller this thing script for this that will utilize character controller component, and for this we will have 2 main scripts and then a number of state scripts. You'll understand as you go along, but let's start with this now. Okay, now I'm assuming you already know how to set up the Unity basics, the simple new project, URP, HDRP, doesn't matter. You can change it later on as well. So here I'm going to do a URP project since it's efficient in a way. And yeah, and then I set up this ground, which is a child of this model, and then which is a child of another environment model. You need to keep your hierarchy clean, so that is one of the tips. It's easier for you later down the road to find things. So anything that goes into your environment basically goes into this parent, and then you subdivide it with the sub-parent branches and everything. So this is actually my whole thing, but we're not going to go there. That's why I've made it into a simple basic model. Now what do we need is we're going to focus something, we're going to create something like a Monument Valley kind of level with an isometric view, and instead of point and click system which Monument Valley uses, we are going to use since this is a basic tutorial for a good design pattern, we need total control in our RPG system. So when you set on to create your next Zelda game or GTA 5, which is one person cannot do, highly not recommended. You're going to waste your time. You need a big team for that. Anyhow, but you still need to know how to set up things properly. So I have these three player controllers, these three protagonists. The first one is without any character controller. Basically, you just strap on a movement script, right? Do your horizontal input and vertical input. This works for WASD. Horizontal is AND and vertical is WNS. It's an old system, but it works. Then you normalize your movement here, and then you move the player using translate method. This works if you just want to move around and have some little bit of basic rigid body. And let me show you how this one works. So let's disable. Okay, and another quick tip for shortcut is to quickly disable and enable game objects in your hierarchy. You just highlight the selected things that you want to disable or enable, and then you click Alt, Shift, and A. So Alt, Shift, and A for Windows. For Mac, I think it might be Command, Shift, A. I'm not sure, but for Windows, it's Alt, Shift, A. So here I disable the rest two protagonists. Now before I move on, the reason I'm using these three protagonists is these all move in a similar fashion, but they are designed differently, coded differently, and the one that we need to aim for is the CCFSM. Basically, it's a kind of design pattern that helps us in scalability, adding features and all those things, and also which AAA type of studios swear by. Even indies swear by, the good ones, I mean. So I'm going to disable. Now imagine you're creating a character which is your protagonist. You need to move it around. So, and yeah, one more thing, always have your models as a child of your main player script. It helps in switching your models easier, including the animations, if you know how to do the animation things. If you need a video around that, just let me know, but there are good enough tutorials already on that. But this is a solid tip. You don't need to put everything on your model. You need to, the model that you have, you need to make it a child of the main player thing where the script controls everything. So this goes for all of these. So this is my player movement. Like I said, it's a very basic kind of script, and then I press play. Top view, up, right, left, back, left, W, D, S, A, S, W, A, W and A together, W, S and D together. This is where normalization helps us, and that's why we normalize things. Now back to this thing. You might have noticed this was in air, and because we have rigid body and we did use gravity, it falls to the ground, and just if I let it go, it just keeps on falling. As you can see here, it just keeps on falling. So this is one of the ways, but there's not much to it. Okay, now this without character controller, you can create your own system, but why do you need to reinvent the wheel? Also, with rigid body, you introduce a lot of I wouldn't say artifacts, but uncontrolled movements. Think of it like Fall Guys, but more uncontrolled. So when you use rigid body, you need to set up a lot of constraints and this and that. It's better to have a character controller, especially when you are creating your own RPGs. One second. To Water Gang. Anyhow, now moving on, we have with character controller. So this is just a basic character controller, no design pattern, nothing. It's a built-in Unity system, which makes it easier for us to have more custom control over our characters. So you just need to like set up a character controller, and yeah, I mean, you just click it and you get this this component, and then you need to have you need to script your own like controller script, if I might. So this is our player controller. We set a speed variable. This is to assign our controller. Now, and then you assign this get component controller. What this does is, if you do it like public, you can just assign it directly from here. You go here and you click here, tuck, and it gets assigned. So, but I've done it private, and I assign it here itself on starting when the script kind of starts. Oh yeah, okay, so the controller gets assigned I mean, our character controller component gets assigned to our controller in the script. If this is too hard for you, let me show you what I mean. So if I make this public, and let's just say, so commenting control and slash, now you need to wait. Okay, now we have no character controller assigned. So what it means is, like, when we play, we have the component, but the component is not being used by any script. So when I press WASD anything, it doesn't like respond. So when I assign a controller, then it goes as we require it. And since we don't have, I didn't script down the gravity, which you can easily with character controller. I'll show you in the next one. So this is how you can have more control. So things like when your RPG have levitating powers, or levitating, what do you say, enemies, flying objects, this comes in handy. And there's a more to it, but you can just keep these settings like slope limit, kind of stairs, step offset, this, that. This deserves a little bit of different video, but I don't need to make it because it's already there. You can just search around. If you need any recommendations, just let me know. But why should I like repeat when some good info is already there around character controllers? But in simple terms, use character controllers whenever you need custom movements, so you can control your own physics and create different kind of powers like God of War stuff and all those things. With rigid body, you have kind of a bit of control, limited control, sorry. Now where were we? Yeah, okay, now back to the script. So this is basically what I did using using code itself. It's much better to do this because now since one more thing, when you assign anything in play, like in play mode, it only keeps its memory during the play mode. Whenever you stop playing, it resets. So that's why it went back. So this is basically what it means. So I assign it and I play it again. It works. But I don't need to do this public. I don't need that much confusion. So I'm going to make it private, and I'm going to uncomment this. And this is what it does. Through the script only, it detects the component that this script is attached to, meaning player WCC with character controller. It will just get component from there and assign it to the script itself. This is the magic it does here. So it saves me a little bit of confusion when I come back after a month and, oh, what was I was supposed to do here? it usually happens. And comment your code, another thing, very important. So see, this works flawlessly. Okay, back to script. Now, as I just explained the controller situation, I mean, this you can do with any component. And then we go to the update method. We use update when there's no rigid body. If you use rigid body or any kind of physics, you need to use fixed update. So it goes something like this. Now we're just going to stay with update because we just custom controlling it everything on our own without much use of physics calculations. Okay, it's the same thing. The input is the same, horizontal for A and D, vertical for W and S. Then we normalize this. So when we move in two different directions, it kind of gets direction. So if I press A and W and A, it moves in left and north, the middle value of left and north, and it keeps it normalized like in a limit. And we use this function where we pass on the direction, the movement direction, and then we again once again we use time.delta time to make it frame independent regardless of whatever processing power we have. So this helps if someone has 3060 instead of 1080. So 1080 guy will be slower than 3080 versus 1080. So if someone has more processing power than you, their character will move faster. So to avoid those things, you use time.delta time. And then the final cherry on the top is controller.move. This is the syntax you use for character controllers. You bring in your vector movement amount, and here I have named it as movement amount, and this does all the calculations and everything. There's another thing also as well, character dot simple move, and then you do movement amount. But simple move is again like a slight version of move. If you want more control like jumping, gravity, your own gravity and everything, then just use move. Even though simple move ignores y direction and kind of adds its own gravity system. I've not used it extensively, but I just prefer using move because of, again, custom controls, all kinds of movements. So now let's play this. You might have noticed there's not much I've given to the y direction, which means there's no gravity I've implemented here, and that's because of some purpose. Since I want this player to be kind of levitating, although I've used gravity in a more realistic one, the final one, which is the main source of this whole episode series or tutorial series. So I can move front, left, right. Now it's not falling because there's no gravity applied. So this is how the character controller works. And now I disable this. Now I come to this one. This is also the same script, same character controller, but with a little bit of a design pattern that is crucial to any kind of movement. For me, in my opinion, it is crucial if you are developing something for Steam or just something that's commercial basically, or you're part of a professional team and all those things. This design pattern is quite important. Your code can be different by end of this tutorial, but what I want you to take home with you is the fact that you are at least confident enough to understand the basics in movement and why we implement a certain kind of design pattern over a simplistic design pattern. Even though what we're going to do is pretty simple, but if you're going to do this for the first time, you might find it a little bit complex, but it isn't really complex, trust me. And how these things do actually benefit us in the long run, and especially when you need to add more features without breaking code, you need to add more states and everything. So basically we are going to individualize every state of our own player, and so that we can add multiple number of features, multiple number of scalable options without really breaking our game, our character, our project in general. By the end of this video, like I said before, you will be a bit more confident, and if you aren't, just dislike the video. Yeah. I've created this little slide to show you how we can better visualize our movement patterns, and yeah, basically this. So first what we did was a basic player movement using translate with rigid body component, best for uh, games like Fall Guys, which has a lot of physics based interaction. Then if you want a little bit more of control, then you can go ahead with the character controller, a basic character controller with mostly around RPGs and your own custom mechanics and your custom physics as well. Like I'll show you in a bit. So these two things is what we did till now. Now with character controller, you need a character controller component on your player and a controller script that will make use of this character controller component. Now what we will be moving ahead with is this method. Why do we need this method? I'll show you down the road as we code along. But basically what we'll have is the same character controller component that we had in basic character controller pattern, and a player controller script as well, and an added abstract class which we'll name at player state, which will hold all the functions like on trigger, entry on trigger, exit on collision, enter, and so on and so forth. And these three mini states are the states that we can introduce. The basic ones are your player will always have an idle state, your player will also be walkable in walk state, and then if you want to make your player fly or climb or jump, this is how you keep on adding more states, and then you add sub functions in it. So let me show you what I mean. Now imagine you have to moonwalk. Do you think you can moonwalk when you're flying? No, right? So this is how we have cleaner code, and we can only set to the moonwalk when we are in these states. This is just one of the positive things that we use finite state machines for, among many other benefits. Imagine we have a big bubble. Now when we were using these two methods, like everything was all over the place, and then these two methods are good for game jams or quick prototyping, but if you're a bit more serious, you should go with this method always. What it does is basically we introduce a bubble. Think of a player states as a bubble, big bubble with small bubbles of states. So this is a walk bubble, this is an idle bubble, and this is a walk bubble. You can have fly bubbles, and you can have like unlimited number of bubbles which are state inside a big managed player state pattern. So first things first, let's recap a little bit. We've seen the player without character controller with this script. Then we've seen with character controller without gravity with this script. And now we are going to go through this player controller, since this design pattern requires multiple scripts, I've just folded it into player controller FSM. FSM stands for finite state machines, but why do we need it? I'll just show you in a bit. And this is the character controller script for that. Ignore all this, I'll go through it one by one. Now here you might have noticed there's gravity applied. So if the player is not grounded, you apply a vertical gravity, otherwise vertical gravity goes to constant minus 1.5. So it's always kind of grounded. Now if I move this, it will not move because I'm in idle state. Okay, so back to this design pattern. These two scripts are the main. First is a player state script. So this is kind of an abstract class where we have the basic functions like update, fixed update, and we will not use for each state, we don't use everything, we just use the ones we need. Like update is the most used one, And then if we need to trigger a function to a certain state, for example, right now we're going to have two states, walk and idle. So when I enter a walk state, what things do I need to do? What animation trigger points, or what kind of environment obstacles? Like, your possibilities are endless. But so the reason we do is the features that we need in walk state we don't necessarily need in idle state, and the features or movements we need in idle state we don't necessarily need in walk state. I have M for moonwalk, so I can do moonwalk when I'm idle and when I am in a walk state. But when I'm jumping, if I press M, it will still do a moonwalk. To avoid those kind of bugs or artifacts, we differentiate states into their own little bubbles kind of thing. So you can just think of it bubble. So right now, this very protagonist player, so as you can see, the hierarchy is the same. The model is a child of the parent player object. So this is character controller with finite state machine. This is our character controller script. We'll go through that slow by slow, but this is our abstract script, and these are the states we have. So when our player idle, when we press play, we automatically transition to state to idle state of the player. So this is the idle state of player. We don't have much going on when the idle state is entered. We just say player idle entered, so it will display over here. It's just a testing thing. And then when I'm in idle state, you can see I cannot move anywhere. There's no input happening here. So if I press I, it will again, from idle state I can go to walk state. So walk state is over here. Now you can see here I have a player fsm.player walk movement. So this player walk movement is a function which is over in the player controller itself. Region player walk movement. So this is how I walk my player. As you can see, the controller scripting is kind of very similar. You take your inputs, you normalize them, you move your player, and now to rotate my player I also add a rotation. So this is the movement function. I also apply gravity, which is a function over here, to my movement, and after applying gravity I recalculate it with my gravity, or you can just say vertical velocity, and then I move my player. And also to rotate my player in a given direction I use this code. What it does, how it does, you just need to understand that quaternions are very helpful in your angle movements, angular calculations. You can use Euler angles or quaternion. It depends on you. So I need to look in this particular direction with a vector up reference, and then I change my transformer dot rotation. I mean, this is the transformer dot rotation of our protagonist, and we also do not just need to like click, instantly switch. We need to slowly rotate towards. So we use the current transform rotation of our protagonist, and we slowly move it to our end goal, this final rotation that we are in. So this is the final rotation that we calculated earlier, and this is the speed I'm assigning. So this is just you can have a different variable to assign it customly, but custom but this is how I assign it, and then I multiply again with to make it here frame independent. I multiply my rotation speed as well with time dot delta time. This is basically it. Now this move player, I've made it into a region. Basically, if you want to separate your code, or not separate your code, you need to group your code into regions. I've just grouped it into a player walk movement for triggering it on our walk state, and then there's idle player movement, which is basically just the gravity applied, nothing else. There's no input being taken. Now let's see how these things work together. I press play or control P, and right now if I do WASD anything, it doesn't move because we are in idle state. So you must have seen when we press play, by default in start we go to idle state. Now since we're in idle state, how do we move our play? We need to transition to walk state. How do we do that? We press I and then we move on to walk state. Sorry, this is an abstract script. We move on to abstract walks state. Now, like I said, abstract scripts are useful in avoiding repetitive code kind of situation, making everything generic, or as the name says, abstract. So when I press I here, now you can see player walk state entered. Now I can walk if I press WASD. 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 And even gravity is there, which, yep, okay. Now let's just, let me show you something else also. Control P. If I do zero gravity, so this is how you control now. You're slowly getting my point, I hope. So when I, okay, yeah, I to enter again walk state. Now I'm in walk state. You can read it over here. Now there's no gravity applied. But it is moving down. What sorcery is this? See, these are the things you will face during programming. Now since I did zero gravity, there isn't much going on. But if I apply like 10 gravity, again, now if I do zero gravity, yeah, okay, got it. It's because I've done minus 0.5, I believe. Yeah, so this is reset vertical. So if I just do 0.00 and we go back, so sometimes you forget about these things. Okay, now let's just say our gravity is 20, and okay, yeah, walk state entered. I pressed I. I'm moving down. I need to pause this. I need to set 0. Where is, I'll just play again. I lost the guy. 20, I walk state entered. I move. Now when I don't want to walk, I press I again. It goes back to idle, but I do need, and I have gravity applied now, which I don't want. I'll press 0, and yeah, so as you can see, if I stay there, it just goes there. And now let's just say I needed it to fly. Now gravity is just something we custom did it ourselves. So if I just want it to fly a little bit, like this, I'm just going to do a minus value, so -1. You can see it's slowly going up. So this is how you can, this is how you can just, custom do everything. I want 20 gravity, and I'm going to fall here. That is how you control, you have more control over your movement. So this is a general controller script, not a design pattern script, not a design pattern, but this whole thing now which I showed you is called finite state machines. The benefits of finite state machines are endless. You can just Google it yourself, but this is how you do it if you are starting out, and if you're like a beginner kind of situation. You need to have two main scripts. One is a player controller script that will control basically the brain of your protagonist, and then a player state where you predefine little functions, abstract functions, and then call it into your different states. So you can see here there's no mono behavior going on. I actually call this, I actually call this script from this abstract class, or let's just call it an abstract yeah, okay, class. Now you see we are not using much of these things. Now on trigger enter helps, and we pass in this player FSM, the main player controller, because most of our functions, we're going to define most of our functions in this itself, because it's easier to assign and deassign and control our objects instead of passing everything here and then like differently assigning things over here. Like I have to individually assign. If I need to move my script, let's just say this movement, where is it, player movement. So for player movement I need to individually set everything here and then individually set everything here. So it kind of repeats your code, and you don't need to repeat your code. Try to make everything work within a single thing, and then you also have to assign the character controller separately and everything. So instead of it, I made this static this thing script, which means public static script, which means it can, and then I assign this this script to this little variable. You can just make it as player also, but this is just a good nomenclature, if you can say. And then how I use this is, I just, whenever I enter a state, call this I can just like type this player controller underscore FSM, and it automatically understands what I'm talking about, player FSM. So this is how, okay, now let's just say in void I'm passing this player FSM player this thing, and that happens. Yep, and this player FSM is actually nothing but this itself, this script. And now in this script what I need is transform to state. So I again basically I'm calling this same function, but I go through this script and then do transition to state, and then I need idle state from this. So these two states are also defined here. It's just easier to what do you say, type and calculate and everything. And then what I do is I start player walk movement, which is again in FSM. So player walk movement is this, and this is in walk state. All right, to recap it off, yeah, we went through a little bit of player movement using translate and rigid body. We don't need this. We went through character controller, which is all right if we have just one or two states, and then we went through this finite state machines, which requires one player controller script, which basically all of these do. This is the brain or movement play of the protagonist, our character. And then there is the abstract class we define where our functions are there, and then we use different states to take you must have, whenever you create a new script, you see a mono behavior here, but for our states we just take all the functions from player state, which we already predefined here. So that's why we define this abstract class, and then we reuse these functions accordingly. Now let's just say we also need to make we need to add another state. So how do we do? If you're clear till now, just leave a thumbs up, I guess, or something to help the video out, I guess. Anyhow, if you're not clear, just comment down and let me know where you feel stuck. I will try to make a detailed video about it, but if I haven't gone into detail about something like basic how to set up pro build or how to set up these layout, you just it's because it's already there. You don't need to relearn everything, if you know. And yeah, so like this ground setup, it's quite easy. Just make a cube and you have your ground. Okay, where was I? Yeah, I need to make my player fly now, or just keep on going front upwards like a Superman style. I will use player, oops, player fly state. Okay, now like I said, whenever you have a new script, it by default is a mono behavior, which we don't want because we're pro level people. We don't use mono behavior. Anyhow, I'm just gonna reuse our script. Instead of idle, I'm gonna use fly. We take it from player state here. No, this is fly state. This is fly state. If I'm in fly state, if I press I, where do I go? I go into idle state. Yep. Oh, okay, idle state. Yeah. Now there's another thing to it. I don't want this since I'm not in idle. So if I press I can only go. Okay, now let's start managing our what do you say, states. Now fly state, I can only go to my idle state. I cannot go into my walk state. Also fly animation, if you need those. If you have a wing, you can just start flapping your wings to your protagonist, or just make your wings appear like you can enable your wings model to your protagonist, and then you insert a fly animation to those wings. Also, how do you move these states? If you don't know, it's alt, up, down, up, down, up, down. So again, ending. Okay, now I can only go in this I is pressed state. Now you can like have another. Now what do we need is we need to go back, FSM. We need to move our player. Apply gravity. There's 0, 0, 0. Okay, and now what do we need is we have something for player walk movement. We have something for player idle movement. Now we also need something. So I'm going to make a region itself. Region player fly movement. Basically it's the same thing. I know I said don't repeat yourself, but I'm gonna take some scripts from here. Now since I need to make it fly, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reuse this here. Wait, we need to use the end with our region. So, okay, now what we need is player. Change the name to player fly movement. We go here, we go here, we go here. Yeah, here. Direction, move player. Yep. Now instead of apply gravity, we just void fly gravity. I mean fly gravity is, I mean you can name it whatever you want, just fly or levitate. Let's just say fly. And this is what we are going to do here. And instead of minus, we are just gonna set vertical velocity to plus gravity, and then it goes up and up and up. But one thing you should know is this will keep on flying. Let me show you 1 second. Fly, and we just use fly over here. Okay, now this is our brain. We coded a fly script in our brain, and now we go back to fly state. So what we need to call here is player.fsm dot. So if you see, we have player reference, player walk movement. Now we need to use a player fly movement. And that should be basically it. Also, instead of gravity, I am gonna, let's just assign a fly power. Okay, instead of gravity, here I'm going to say public fly float, fly coefficient or fly power, whatever you want to say. Fly coefficient. No, I just say fly power. It's more simpler and understandable. So I'm just going to do 2.0 f, and instead of gravity, I'm gonna use, oh sorry, yeah, I'm gonna use fly power. Okay, I'm in idle state. I can go to walk state, great. But if I press F, now what I need is, I'll just recode this. If I press F, when I'm in idle state, not always, when I'm in idle state, if I press F, I will go to my fly state. Now, where do I lack? Okay, yeah, here also we need to. So in the brain, you need to first declare a state here and then the function over there. That's it. That's all there is. Then you need to create a new script. Wait a second. Let me type this. Let's see if it's working. Player, ROCKSTAR. Player fly state. Okay, let's see. So if I'm in idle state, only then I can go to my fly state. Otherwise, I cannot go to my fly state from my walk. This thing, yeah, that's good. I mean, if I type this same thing over here, then I can, but I don't want to fly from walking. I want to be idle first, to get back to idle and then fly. So let's see how that works out. Go to player this thing. I think we have an error. Move player. Okay, we have probably repeated keywords. Yeah. And also rotate. For rotate also we'll get an error, probably, I am guessing. Defines the member rotate. Yeah, see, rotate player. So we're just going to put F rotate player, like fly rotate player. Should be good. Okay. Console goes here. Fly power is 2. Okay. So 2. Now I am in my idle state. I press I can walk, but there's no fly. Now I need to fly. So if I press F, nothing happens. This is just the test thing. Don't go on that. I'm pressing F, nothing is happening. So I need to go back to my idle state. I go back to my idle state. Now I can't move, but I can fly now. If I press F, whoa, as you can see, it's just flying, and we are moving front, back, behind. Okay, now I need to slow down a bit. I'll just play again. And I need the power to be 0.5. I need to fly it slowly. Okay, now I'm in idle. I press I walk. I press I again, I'm back to idle. Now do note, if I press I again, I'm walking, but if I press F, I cannot fly. I'm still in idle state. Sorry, I need to do walking state. I'm in walk state. Now if I go back to idle, now I cannot move, and I press F. You can see it's slowly flying. Now there's more to this. Now you can add a maximum limit, so how up to what height it can fly and all those things, but I think you get the gist of it. So that's how you add another state. Now if I add another ladder climb, we'll come to that. So this is how you basically get the basics right. If it has been confusing to you, I apologize. You can just comment down and ask me, or you can just ask me on whatever social platform I am, Twitter or X or Instagram. YouTube is good, I think. What are we going to do? What do we need to do? What do you want me to add to this? Just let me know. This is the stage one. This stage two and stage three. If stage one gets some interest, I will be creating stage two and stage three as well, where we will be going to add more this thing. What do we say? Features and more refinement and all those things. But first, let me show you what I did using ProBuilder. Now, ProBuilder is a quite good level building tool. Okay, so again, to enable this, Alt Shift and A. I was pressing Alt Shift and D by mistake. So one more thing about character controllers is the stair functionality to climb something. It's implemented in by default, so that is a very good thing. And you can also set now let's get back to this character controller parameters. If I set height to 1, usually 2 is decent. If I set height to 1, it just, since I don't have any colliders or something, it just goes down and stuff like, but I need it at 2. So, and then the radius is the colliding radius. So for me it's 0.5. This is actually custom things you can just set. Sometimes you might have some artifacts around character controller. Maybe it's not climbing properly your stairs, maybe it's not climbing your stairs properly or something. So you need to check your you need to adjust your skin width mostly, or minimum move distance. These three basically. So let's just say if I do a skin offset of 2. Now what it is, when you hover over it, it tells you what it is, but it's hard to understand just in words. You can understand it better when you are applying and understanding. So you see I have limited my skin step offset, so it's kind of struggling to go up. But if I raise it to 0.5, so I can easily go up, I can just stay on that level, and then if I want to jump, I also jump because I have gravity. And now let's just say I go up, I don't want gravity, I don't want to fall either. Now if I go, I can even go here, say I won't fall or anything. So that these things, yep, you see now I'm in here, I'm doing 10, I've solved oops, into -1. 1 second, come back you. I think we lost it. Yo, I needed 10. Wait a second, where is it? Oh, come back here. Okay, never mind, I'll just replay it. So you see, you get the idea of this. And now let's just say if I add a state like the moonwalk thing is very serious actually. Why is it serious or important to understand? Not serious. Why is it important to understand? Because now if I suppose I also add a moonwalk animation, I've shown you the fly state, how you can implement it and everything. So where did I go wrong? Okay, 1 second, step offset is 0, which I need at 0.5. Now this the values are you don't necessarily always need to have these values, but this is a good start of your project. If the values are a good start, you can then later on tinker down. If you've learned anything, I do recommend you try it yourself within a day or 2. Otherwise all this information will go to waste. And you can also like share with your friends or just yourself, basically keep it, bookmark it, whatever. Now moving on, I need to add, now imagine this is my environment, and now I also introduce a ladder. Now the funny part is this will work because like I just need to tweak it a little bit from here, but let's just say if you want to focus on some object, you just click highlight that and press F. So the thing is, this will work in most cases. You will be able to climb it. I created this ladder in Pro Builder itself, kind of. Alright, let's see if it climbs. This is a shortcut, not going to lie. So press I, invoke state. Oh shit. Invoke state. Wait a second, guys. I changed the ladder color to yellowish, so it's easily like visible, and then the cube for me not to fall. Now you might wonder, like, for this ladder system you can create another state, but there's a simple hack to it. It's not a proper ladder also, but it will work if you use a character controller. Now I just go here. You can see it doesn't climb right now, but that's because we have limited ourselves to the slope limit of 45 degrees. Now ladders are usually 90 degrees or 80, not 90, maybe 80-ish. So I'm just gonna go full bonkers and 90. Now if I press climb like A, which should be like this from top view, it climbs like this, and then you can just fall down. I can use stairs and everything, so it character controller also saves you some time on this. So it kind of predefines what is the limit you can climb. If you're superhuman, it's a different story. Then otherwise, if you're an old person, you can set different limit for this. I mean, if your character is an old person, I apologize. Okay, now this is basically the basic starting of this little series I thought of making, because I just thought it would be nice to spread this information if you are planning to ever apply in a AAA studio or a proper indie studio. I mean, even the creators of Monument Valley, I hope they see this video someday, and just if I'm doing something wrong, they object it and raise their concerns. But I think everyone will agree to me, because this is how it's done. Proper design patterns are very important, especially when you are commercializing a game and you want minimum bugs in the long run. So if you're planning for a game jam kind of situation, and with very few features like basic run, climb, shoot, this, that, I think you can still manage to like use if else and limit, like control your movement, and each movement, what all functions can it do and stuff. But if you want a proper management, so this is the one I recommend, and I do believe anyone would recommend, whether they work at Ubisoft, Take-Two, anywhere. Even the people who create GTA series, I mean, this is just recommended. So let me know how it goes. How was it for you? And this was the end of stage 1, and now I'll be doing a stage 2 where we will be focusing on, well, we will be proceeding ahead with this, and also we will break down more into Pro Builder if you want. But it's the same thing. Stage 2 will be a proper continuation of this, where it goes. Just comment where you want it to go, and what all you might think you're missing out on, or mostly you might not know what you're not missing out on. So just let me know. Yeah, thanks for watching. Now, since we've reached the end of this tutorial, what I want to say is that this was the end of stage 1, where I explained you how the basics are done, and why we choose a certain pattern and everything. Next few stages we will be probably adding animations, or how to do your own custom things, and so on, depending on what you guys also comment and let me know. So maximum there'll be only 3 stages. Stage 1 is already done. If you really liked it, you should just like the video. But if you have doubts, or even if you're a AAA studio guy, I openly challenge you to tell me where I'm wrong in using this pattern. But I'm pretty confident that many studios use and swear by this pattern from scratch. There's more complexity to it, but we don't need to get there. But the basics, to clear the finite state machine basics is what I aimed at this stage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye bye. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. And also like it if you really learned something, and even if you didn't, just ask me or in the comments or something. And yeah, see you there. See you next time.